Hey guys, CoolCheese here, and welcome back to another Destiny 2 video. In today's Destiny 2 video, I just wanted to talk about what are currently the best subclasses to play within PvP, and kind of how they've been affected by Stasis and the Beyond Light sandbox as a whole. I think it's important to preface that when I'm talking about these classes being the best, I am talking about them specifically being the best in high-level scrims and Trials of Osiris. I think that's kind of where this game is taken more seriously, and what Bungie views as the more competitive side of Destiny, and so that's what I'm going to take into consideration when I'm talking about the best classes. One of these classes might be worse or better off in 6s than the other ones, however, that's kind of irrelevant since 6s is more of a casual mode. Alright, let's get into it. Additionally, I want to divide these classes into two main groups, S tier and A plus tier. The difference between these is that A plus tiers are just classes that are very, very strong right now. However, I'm not really sure if they need tuning to be more balanced. I think they are kind of at that point where they're super strong, they're very fun to play, however, they're not quite broken. However, I think the S tier options are too powerful currently and should be toned down in the future, so Bungie, if you're watching this, get on that. So first of all, coming in at the number one spot, or tied for the number one spot, is Dawnblade. As everyone knows, Top Tree Dawnblade has been very dominant ever since its buff back in December. However, even before that, Bottom Tree Dawnblade was still very strong. Main things to note about this class is that it gives you so much freedom as a player that it's oppressively free. And what I mean by this is that it allows you to do things along the maps, along with your character model, whatever it is, things that Bungie did not intend for you to do, and kind of breaks the overall game in terms of speed, in terms of movement, and in terms of where you're supposed to be in the map. This class, in addition to having this top tier movement, has a very strong melee ability, one of the best, and one of the best grenades as well. Since it is a light grenade, it has a shorter cooldown, and hence you have it more often. I think all of these things make this class top tier. Everything is good on Dawnblade. It has the best movement in the game, it has one of the best melees in the game, it has one of the best grenades in the game, and it has a really good super. Our second member of S tier is Revenant. Revenant is the Stasis Hunter, and it is known for its extreme crowd control abilities. Revenant has the ability to take the entire map and make it its own. Revenant's abilities allow it to control the map in a way no other class does. It has two slowing melees that track off of ricochets, which allow you to get free kills if you just manage to hit someone. The grenades are very strong, and especially with Shatter Dive, you can combo things like Glaciers with Fissures, the one-shot supers, Guardians, and just basically anything within a 13-mile radius. In addition to having top-tier melee and grenade options, you have a very good shutdown super, if not the best, and you still have Hunter movement, which comes along with Stompies, which is still top-tier despite not being quite Dawnblade levels. Overall, the crowd control abilities on Stasis Hunter are absolutely insane. Revenant takes the strengths of nearly every crowd control ability in the game, from suppressors to smoke bombs, and combines them in a way that makes it the most oppressive class to play against. Revenant is so good that despite having these top tier abilities, it still has top tier movement. Normally there's a trade-off for having such strong abilities. This class actually has more movement options than other hunter trees due to Shatter Dive movement tech. Before we move on, I just want to clarify why I think Dawnblade and Revenant are on the same level. A lot of people see Revenant, they see how strong it is, and they would argue that it is by far the best class in the game. However, I disagree. While Revenant might be the most annoying class to play and the most restrictive on your playstyle, the inverse of that is Top Tree Dawnblade. Top Tree Dawnblade allows you to be so free that it is oppressively free compared to other classes in the game. Top Tree Dawnblade just doesn't have to follow Destiny rules, and that's why it is so strong. It gives so much power to good players. Now let's start at the top of A plus tier. I want to start by revealing what my two top of A plus tier characters / classes are, just so that way we have a good idea, but I do think these classes are actually equal, and at a high level, I think that one is extremely overrated by a lot of players. The two top of A plus tier characters are Spectral Blades and Behemoth. Let's start by talking about Spectral Blades because I'm sure that they came to a shock of a lot of players. People don't realize how strong Spectral Blades still is. It isn't a Revenant, it isn't a Top Tree Dawnblade, it might not seem as flashy as something like Behemoth. However, the power between the smokes, the grenade, the super, the flawless execution is nothing to laugh at. Spectral Blades is a staple of Destiny ever since it was released, and I'm sure that it's going to be meta for years and years to come. Spectral Blades has the best roaming super in the game. It has the best melee in the game, in my opinion, and has top tier grenades. Maybe not the best, but they are suffice. Basically, Spectral Blades allows a great player who knows the fundamentals of ability usage and super usage to just go crazy. Having a super that has basically no end lag is insane for a high level of play. It allows you to go left, right, in your super for swipes, and in general just allows you to recover from silly mistakes, whereas other supers, maybe Striker, cannot. Spectral Blades is a top tier class because of its super abilities, being a hunter, which means stompies again, and just being a fantastic, well-rounded character. It might not be very good specifically at crowd control, but it still has a tool to do it. It might not be specifically as good at movement as Dawnblade, but it still has top tier movement because of just being a hunter with a dash and stompies. And I mean, some people also think that Spectral Blades isn't very good this season because of stasis. However, I disagree. I think it's just as good and in a great spot right now. I just think that it's a little bit harder to use, and for the most part, I am completely fine with the class being that strong and being a little bit more difficult to use. And now on to my big boy Behemoth. Behemoth is probably the most fun that you'll ever have playing Destiny 2 PvP, at least in the current sandbox. Has a level of movement that Titans haven't seen since Destiny 1 with Titan Skating and Twilight Garrison combined. Behemoth is a movement class at the end of the day, which is why it is so good. Yes, it has stasis grenades, it has glaciers, it has dusk fields, which are very strong. However, that's not what makes Behemoth very good. On Titan, you have suppressors, you have lightning grenades, and both of which I think are actually better than the stasis grenades. However, Behemoth's melee, slide, and super allow for outplay potential that we haven't seen on Titans in a long time. Behemoth is very good for the health of the game just because of the massive skill gap, and you're going to be able to tell the difference between someone who just picked up Behemoth 5 minutes ago and someone who's been playing Behemoth for 2,000 hours like myself. Besides that though, the reason why Behemoth is very strong is once again because of its movement. The high skill gap nature emulates Top Tree Dawn while still keeping it within more of a balanced territory because of it being tied to a melee cooldown. In my opinion, having that level of movement so quickly on Top Tree Dawn makes it oppressive, where having a similar amount of movement on Behemoth every 30 seconds as opposed to every 6 I think is fine for the most part. In addition, I think the super, while it is very good, is kind of overrated because when you're playing against a lot better players, it's pretty easy to kill. Yes, you can't run from it, but you're not supposed to in order to kill a Behemoth. It's very easy to kill with your special weapons and or other supers. Overall, the movement on Behemoth is fantastic, which is why it's a top tier class. However, I think because it isn't as versatile and as widespread as something like Top Tree Dawnblade or Revenant, it is not quite a top tier class and is actually more on par with Spectral Blades. Spectral Blades is much more versatile in terms of what its abilities do. However, its movement is a little bit worse, and so that's why I think they're on par. And finally, let's get to the underdog of this list. The number 5 best subclass in Destiny 2 currently, in my opinion, is Chaos Reach. I'm sure you guys have all seen the new wave of Chaos Reach mains coming out and just starting to tear shit up, starting with Noise Tank, of course. But Chaos Reach has been a criminally underrated class for a long time, and now with the recent buffs, it gets even better. Chaos Reach is the best support class in the game, and I don't say that lightly. In a world where you can have 3 Top Tree Dawnblades, yes, do that. However, in a world like Scrims, or even in a world like Trials where you're waiting a lot of the time, having Chaos Reach in your back pocket is nearly a must. The amount of orbs you can generate your team because of the quick super cooldown and things like Geomags being available is insane. You essentially get the first super, and then you generate orbs so your teammates get the first super, and then they generate orbs so you instantly have another super, and you keep on going and going until you've had 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. You get my point. You get a lot of supers in every game. In addition, if you're running max intellect with things like Geomag, you can get a super in Trials every single round. And I'm not saying that as an over-exaggeration. You literally can get a super every single Trials round with this class. It is very strong. Not to mention, the super isn't even the only reason why this class is good. It has 2 hidden benefits, or not hidden benefits, just lesser known benefits, them being Ionic Traces and Pulse Wave. Let's start with Pulse Wave. Pulse Wave is very good because whenever you get your shields broken, you and any ally around you gets the Pulse Wave buff. Essentially, this is just the Dragon Shadow exotic buff, but it's in the class, which is kind of insane if you think about it. Exotic in the class for free for all your teammates. It's very good. Additionally, Ionic Traces is an ability where wherever you get a kill on an enemy, this little lightning thingy will crawl across the ground right towards you, and when you pick it up, you get half your grenade, half your melee, half your rift, and like essentially an orb for your super. This allows you to get your super even quicker than you already were, and basically allows your abilities to be up constantly. Yes, you might not quite have arc web level grenades, but the thing is, where you miss out on having lethal grenades, you have like 5 grenades in that time. It is crazy. Overall, Chaos Reach is a very sleeper pick, and I can only see it going up from here when the other classes get nerfed. Maybe it'll be the 100% best class in the game next meta. Who knows? Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I always enjoy talking about the meta and kind of subclass changes, whatever. You know, I like nerding out about this stuff. So if you agree, make sure to leave a like. If you don't agree, tell me in the comments what you think are the best 5 classes in the game. Anyways, if you'd like to play some trials with me, I do trials carries all weekend, every single weekend on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/CoolCheese101. And I'll talk to you guys next time. Advanced.GG break! There is only one Titan that can beat Searu in trials. And that's this fucking guy! Dune Marchers! M-Dash Cut! Oh! Some people ask what it's like to be the best. Some people ask what it's like to have such a good Dune Marcher shot.
And I tell them to drink Advanced.GG's Focus using code CHEESE for 10% off their next order. Focus is the best energy drink on the market for both studying and gaming, and it is what I personally use to get through hours upon hours of trials. Order Focus today using code CHEESE to support the channel and get yourself a great energy drink.